911 operator. 911, what's your emergency? Caller, voice shaking. I can't find her. Her car is still here, but she's gone. There's blood by the door. It began with a desperate phone call on a warm June night in Maplewood, Virginia, a town so small, so quiet, most people left their doors unlocked, a town where neighbors borrowed sugar without knocking, and Sunday service was a highlight of the week. But this call would tear that piece apart forever, because 26-year-old nurse Aaliyah Brooks, beloved daughter, trusted caregiver, and the heartbeat of the community, had vanished without a trace. To know Aaliyah was to know light itself, a young black woman with a smile wide enough to soften the hardest heart. She devoted her days and nights to caring for others. At Maplewood General Hospital, patients describe her as an angel in scrubs. At church, she was the first to volunteer, the one who sang loudest in the choir. At home, she cooked extra food just to deliver to her elderly landlord next door. But behind her warmth was a quiet storm. She had just left a difficult relationship, moved into a small duplex on Willow Street, and finally seemed free. Free but fragile. On June 14th, 2021, at 7:43 p.m., she clocked out from her evening shift. She waved a receptionist, walked into the humid summer air, and slid into her silver Honda. The cameras caught her car leaving the hospital lot, headlights glowing as daylight faded. That was the last confirmed sighting of Aaliyah alive. By morning, her landlord noticed something unsettling. Her car still sat in the driveway, her front door slightly open. Inside, everything looked intact, except for a coffee mug tipped up on the table, and near the door, a small pool of blood. Not enough to suggest a brutal struggle, but enough to whisper violence. Her phone was still charging in her bedroom. Her purse sat on the counter. Nothing stolen, nothing forced. Whoever came to that house, Aaliyah knew them. Detectives moved quickly. On day one, they canvassed the neighborhood. One neighbor recalled hearing muffled voices around midnight. Another swore they saw a man's silhouette near her porch. On day two, forensics confirmed the blood was hers. They also found something else, a partial fingerprint smudge on the doorframe. Day three, they dug into her phone records. Dozens of late-night calls, hours long, all to the same number. The number belonged to Marcus Hale. Marcus was no stranger. He was Maplewood's golden boy, a respected police officer, married father too, and, ironically, part of the team now working the case. At first, Marcus denied any personal connection. I only knew her around town, he claimed. But investigators weren't convinced. They pulled security footage from a local diner weeks before she disappeared. There, in plain sight, sat Marcus and Aaliyah, laughing, leaning close, holding hands beneath the table. The officer was having an affair. Aaliyah had confided in friends that Marcus promised to leave his wife. She believed him, but just days before she vanished, she told a co-worker, "If he doesn't make a decision soon, I'm done. I can't keep living in the shadows." That ultimatum, spoken with hope but laced with exhaustion, may have sealed her fate. The town reeled at the thought. A police officer, sworn to protect, now the prime suspect. But suspicion isn't evidence. Without a body, no murder could be charged. And Maplewood clung desperately to hope. Hope that maybe, just maybe, Aaliyah was alive. Weeks passed. Flyers covered lampposts. Vigils lit up the night sky. And her family cried on television, pleading, "Bring our daughter home." Beneath the prayers, though, suspicion festered. Then came the break. Cadaver dogs swept the wooded outskirts. One dog froze near an abandoned shed. Inside, detectives found a shovel, dirt clinging to its blade, and nearby, freshly disturbed soil. Underneath lay Aaliyah Brooks. The autopsy revealed blunt force trauma to the head. Embedded in the wound were tiny shards of metal and glass, fragments of a police-issued flashlight. Marcus Hale's flashlight. He was arrested, charged with first-degree murder, obstruction of justice, and abuse of a corpse. The courtroom was a theater of grief and betrayal. The prosecution told the story of a man so desperate to protect his reputation, so terrified of losing his badge and family, that he chose violence. When Aaliyah threatened to expose their relationship, Marcus snapped. His wife wept silently in the gallery. Aaliyah's family sobbed openly, clutching framed photos of the daughter who had dreamed of one day opening her own clinic. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours. The verdict, guilty. The sentence, life without parole. But Maplewood's wounds ran deeper than one trial could close. Trust was shattered. Parents told their daughters to watch every shadow. Neighbors double-locked their doors. And whispers spread of corruption inside the very police department sworn to protect them, because Marcus hadn't acted alone. Court documents revealed something darker. Investigators uncovered evidence that another officer had known about Marcus's affair and his mounting desperation. That officer had helped cover up small details, slipped a report into the wrong file, delayed a lab result, even misled search teams in those early days. Why? Greed. He was being paid off by Marcus, desperate to keep his career intact. In exchange, he kept quiet. The rot wasn't just in one man. It had seeped into the system. But betrayal went even further. In the weeks before her death, Aaliyah had withdrawn large sums of money from her account. Investigators later learned she had been saving for a clinic she planned to open, but some of that money was gone, missing, and where it ended up was chilling in Marcus's account. He had convinced her it was for them, for their future together. She believed him. Love, hope, trust, stolen, manipulated, and used as currency for her own destruction. The town's grief curdled into rage. Rage at Marcus. Rage at the department. Rage at the realization that their peace was an illusion. Behind every locked door, behind every smile, betrayal could be lurking. To this day, when the cicadas sing on warm summer nights, some residents swear they hear echoes. Aaliyah's laughter cut short. Her family visits her grave every Sunday, leaving fresh lilies. Her mother whispers the same words each time. You were the light. They couldn't dim you, not truly. Because Aaliyah's story is more than a crime. It's a reminder that greed can twist love into chains. That betrayal can hide in the face of someone sworn to protect you. That disappointment can bloom into despair when promises turn to lies. And it is a warning. Sometimes, the greatest danger is not the stranger passing through town. It is a familiar face you trusted most, the one smiling across from you, holding your hand beneath the table, whispering promises they never intended to keep. Maplewood was never the same. And perhaps that's the cruelest twist of all.